Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, October 28th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Ba-dum-bum-bow. Wow. Okay, so what are we looking at here today? Well, yesterday we had a failure. I wouldn't say a failure. We had a pullback in the market where late in the day we had a massive spike down, and then the market just rotated at those lower prices in the M period. So that is a little bit weak in the sign that the market, wasn't ready to push higher. And so the end of this momentum that we've had to the upside might be in play here. We're always looking for that moment when the market is done pushing higher and ready to start to balance off the excess that it's created. So let me just pull up the daily charts here. So as I've been talking about over and over the last week or two, there's two ways for the market to balance off excess. It either just goes sideways long enough that it's ready to break out higher, or it pulls back in price. And what the market's been doing in recent history quite a bit is that it creates the excess to the upside, and then it spends a while rotating sideways. And it's only after it fails to break out to the upside that we get the larger pullback in price. You can see it there. You can see it here. Okay, kind of a successful breakout, but they couldn't get any further. Pullback in price, same thing, sideways. Successful breakout. Another balancing area, couldn't break out from that high, massive pullback. Okay, so that is a pretty high probability of what the market's going to do here. It's going to push higher and it's going to rotate sideways. And then only if it fails to break out to the upside will we get like a larger pullback to start to repair some of this excess that we created in here. So if that's what the market's going to do, what we should be looking for is a balancing area. Okay, much like this area here on the ES, where the market just kind of bounced around inside a certain range, we're looking for it to set up to start doing that. Okay, and that could be the case this morning. When I look at the chart and I look at the way that the before I switch back to market profile, let me just quickly show you the NQ here as well. So the ES, if it's going to build a balancing area here, we'll be building it above the balancing area that it had before at all-time highs, whereas the NQ is right in line with it. Okay, so let's switch over to the NQ. So you can see the previous balancing area at all-time highs on the NQ was right there, and that's right where we're at right now. So that's kind of noteworthy. All right, let's switch over to the market profile. You may notice some new doodads and things on the market profile chart here. I've switched over to the full version of Window Trader Blue, no longer on the light. So I've added a few extra little features here that I will talk about in detail during the Brigade stream later on today. But basically, if we were going to create a balancing area, okay, and it was going to be, market is open. We're opening inside the previous day's range, so I'm expecting chop here this morning. So I'm not feeling rushed to look for trades right away. But if this is going to be a balancing area in here, okay, this is a good area for the market to make a low where it made the low yesterday. Just give that data a second to load here. So again, just expecting chop early this morning as we're opening inside the previous day's range. We opened above the spike down from yesterday. So that is the most bullish of scenarios. Because it's a spike down, it's bearish no matter what, but we'd say that's like the least bearish scenario is opening above the spike. Okay, so like because of the fact that we had kind of a mini balancing area over these 3 days right here, okay, you can see the overnight kind of traded in the same exact area as the regular trading hours. Finding support around that high could be setting us up for a balancing area low. So potentially the fact that the overnight also traded almost to a tick exactly to our low and then just pushed higher, that's a sign that this might be a new balancing area low. And so what that means is we could be looking for the market to kind of spend a few days bouncing around inside this range, which to me seems like the highest probability play. The fact that value was lower and we had the spike lower means we probably aren't going to get continuation of the momentum to the upside, that's likely over, and we need to balance off all this excess that we've created. As far as rotation and chop here this morning, I would expect us to stay kind of stuck inside of here. This node of time and volume from the overnight and this node of time and volume from yesterday. So if we start to break above there, we could potentially be looking higher, but I wouldn't really be looking to get into a long trade until we got above like 45.74 and then came back down and found support, because this could all act as resistance in here. Okay, it's quite interesting that we're getting just a straight push up this morning, as we should have had a little bit of a counter auction to the downside with the overnight inventory being net long. So that's a little bit bullish that we straight up took it higher. And so I would say let's look for support right around where that opening price was, right in that node of volume just below it. So if we trade back down into that like 58-ish level, we look for support there. Pulling back down below that into the spike from yesterday would be bearish, that we're going to continue down. So we can look for support around that 57.75 level. And like I said, I assume we're going to get some resistance as we push our way up into the higher ends of these nodes around 72, 73 up here. But if we can get above this, come back down and find support, I'd be looking to go long. Okay, so those of you that have been watching for a while and you're wondering what you're looking at here, so essentially now that I've got the full version of Window Trader, I can have what are called intraday things, not just full profiles. So I've got a second volume node in here that is just representing the current half an hour time frame. So as the day progresses, this one over on the left will be the full day like we're used to seeing. And this one over here on the right will just go each half an hour. It'll just show us the volume within that half an hour. And then on this column right here, this is actually the buyers versus the sellers. So based on volume. So if they're negative numbers, it means there's more sellers, more volume of the sellers in there. And if they're positive numbers, more buyers. So we got really bad taper at the high. And as the market chops its way back down, again, we're just looking for support above the base of this spike. It doesn't really start to get bearish until we get back down into that spike from yesterday. R.K. Leon, good morning to you. Welcome. There's been so much speculation as to where you've been. You've been sorely missed in the chat. Good to have you back. FRM, good morning to you. Two Manifs, good to see you. Wakar, good morning to you. Mangala, back in the house, good to see you. Naif is here, good morning to you. Mangala says, yesterday he was nervous and did not trade. Well, there's no reason to be nervous today. Like I said, if we get down into the spike, we're probably looking to go lower. Potential support in here. If not, we're going down to test those lows. By the way, larger balancing areas like I've been discussing this morning can be very easy to trade. They're tough at first because you have to figure out where to draw the lines. What is the balance area high? What is the balance area low? But if I zoom back out to that daily chart, once you draw those lines, you can pretty much just go short at the upper end of balance if it fails to get continuation higher, and it will almost always trade back down to the opposite end. That's kind of what it does until it breaks. Did it here too? Trade it up, trade it down, trade it up. It just kind of bounces around in there until it breaks. So if we are developing a balancing area here over the next few days, it can be a great trading opportunity. Nicholas, good morning to you. Welcome. Naif, kudos, Mangala. Not trading when it doesn't feel right is saving money. It's so true. Discipline is everything. And it really is more about saving you money. Protecting the capital you have is the most important part of being a trader. Vincent, good morning to you. S&P Addict, welcome. You're in the right place. Philip, good morning to you. Peter, good morning to you. Welcome. Donkey, good to see you in the chat. Marco, of course I remember you. Good to have you back. Jay Trader, good morning to you. David, good morning, Charles. And the chart you're showing is excess a series of subsequent candlesticks of the same color? No, it's about the way the market moves, right? If a market is moving in a healthy way, it should move like this. This is how it should go higher. And so excess is when it just kind of goes straight up and the market never pulls down. And so we most clearly can see that in the fact that we've created so many gaps below us. So if you just pop on the like SPX chart, you can really easily see them. So you can just see all these little holes that we've got here. That's a sign that the market is getting too long too fast. It likes to have a chance to kind of pull back down and backfill those areas. So that's what we consider excess. It's not the fact that the market is continually going up. It's the fact that they're not letting it dip at all. They're not giving stronger buyers a chance. It's just those momentum buyers. It's just those FOMO buyers that are continually pushing it higher and higher and higher. And sooner or later, they have to take profits. And so when they do, the market pulls back down. But like I said, I'm not really looking for that anytime soon. What I'd rather see, as has been the case quite a bit recently, is I'd rather see the market go sideways and then fail to break out. And then we get a larger pullback and repair some of these gaps. Or, of course, the market successfully break out and then we just leave them behind. Tom B., good morning to you. Scooball back with us. Good to see you. Arthur is here. Good morning. JG, good to see you. Good morning. I don't have an exact level for the above this. My point is just that I'm expecting chop. I'm expecting the market to go up and down inside of here until it gets above this node here. But it's not like see, what I love is a big fat node of volume like this here. You see how clear that definitely is a big fat node? This one here in the overnight, you can definitely see. We don't quite have that yesterday because the market was rotational up in here. So there's not like a clear point. If I had to give you an exact level, I would say this one here. So you're looking at like 45.7350. Getting above there. Now it could just get resistance and pull right back in. So if it gets above there and it comes back down and it finds support, then I'll be ready to go along with it. Or if we slowly start trending up there, if like we don't get up there till the C period, but it's trending higher, I would also go long on that. But other than that, I'd just wait to let the market, because I think the market's just going to do this. It's just going to go up and down and grind around in here until it gets either above that level or below this one. Am Gossel. Thank you, sir. We'll see. We'll play with it and see what we think. All right, well, things are feeling a little bullish here. They're keeping the ticks up. The internals look bullish. We didn't get any real counter auction to that overnight inventory, so that's a little bit bullish as well. So now we're going to test that area I was just discussing to see, do we fail and pull back down here, or can we push above and then come back and find support? Tom, why is a bad taper on the high? Sorry, too late now for me to comment on that. That taper has clearly been repaired. Ronald, good morning to you. Doug, good to see you. David Glass, good morning. Ricky Bobby is back. Good to see you, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Wakar, what is in the Discord channel? Just a conversation between the coolest traders on Earth, sharing ideas on a daily basis. Man, they're really pushing this morning. Got real low volume right around this 45.69 level. So we probably need to pull back down there and put in a little more volume. Marco, the fact that we don't got any counter auction with such a bullish overnight inventory is crazy in my opinion. Yeah, it's just a sign that there were some stronger buyers that bought in there. They don't feel the need to take profits just yet. They're willing to see how far they can push the market first. A little bit bullish. Ray Miller, good morning from Flatwood, West Virginia. Good morning to you. White, good morning, My Highness. My Highness? Your Highness? I meant to say my lord. I mixed up my lord and your highness and made my highness. Trading Donkey says he's looking for the establishment of a balancing area here following the cessation of one-time framing on the daily. Absolutely, that spike down was there was information in that what happened late in the day yesterday. That was a sign that that momentum is done, or could be done. So the market might need to balance. Shubaho Deep, welcome back. Good morning to you. Amir, good to see you. Malcolm, so the pirate is a node man then? I guess. I never thought of myself as a node man. But you node it's true. Ozzy, good morning to you. Hola. Rob, good to see you. Welcome. S&P Attic was looking for a vacuum into the 75-85 area. Got long at 55. So far, so good. Waiting for continuation or congestion now and a push higher. Yeah, that's different terminology than I would use. But yeah, I think about it always in terms of support or resistance. We can see the resistance the market had yesterday in here. So as it's pushing up into it today, does it pull back down and find support very quickly or not? Does it need to pull back down in here? We got all these low volume nodes right around that 69 level. So if it has to pull back down into here, it can take another stab. But if it keeps trying and it can't get above there, we're likely to rotate back down at some point. Donkey saying we should be dumping with the GDP numbers and the taper announcement coming next week. When what should happen doesn't. If there's a reason for the market to be bearish, but it's going up, that is information. I still think it's a little too early to say, though. We might just need to balance here. Mangala, market seems to ignore fundamentals. Yeah. That's because Papa Powell keeps printing that money and making that money printer go burr. Scooball, have you ever watched any MBO tool? No, I don't know what that is. S&P Addict uses support and resistance. Don't know market profile at all. Yeah, market profile just lets us see both time and volume at each price level. You know, whereas like a regular candlestick, it shows you how much volume traded in that 15 minutes. Here we can see at each particular price level, where did the volume trade? And then we can also see when you look at the letters over here in the condensed, that can show you that's the area where the market spent the most time, wherever there are the most letters. So it just gives you kind of like a 3D view of what's on the candlesticks. Let's jump over and take a look at the NQ. Bam. Okay, NQ just rotational. Pretty much could be looking at a balancing area that's pretty much yesterday's range, which, like I said, was that former balancing area from when we were up here before. So lots of potential support below the lowest price that we went to today. You got all this volume from yesterday and all this time and volume from overnight in here. So there's a good chance it gets down in there and then starts rotating back up. Let's pop over on the Russell real quick. Okay, the Russell's not in a balancing area. It's in like a larger balancing range, but not quite as clean as the other two here. But it is looking bullish. So already, first day, looking at these, the delta between the buyers and sellers, first thing is jumping out of me, I can see the exact level where the buyers are beating the sellers there and there. So that's your potential support. All right, well, this is looking good for continuation. They came back in. They backfilled those low volume nodes in here that only had 100 contracts. Now they've pushed back above again. So this little red node of volume right around 71 should act as support here for continuation higher. Trading Donkey says he's going short on the speculation that this will be a balancing area high. Wakar, no, I don't talk about my trades. I just talk about what I see in the market, and you guys can choose to trade with it as you will. Rocket, another winner, first thing in the morning. Good for you, brother. All right, so now as we print the B period, you guys can see how this volume over here on the right is just showing the B period. And so this will be the full day over here on the left, and then this will just be for the current 30-minute period. All right, so now's where we figure out, can this hold as support? If so, we get continuation higher. If not, we're looking at chop. Pull back down into the halfback area around 45.66. We can see there's more buyers stepping in here, larger numbers on the buyers. So that looks like support. All right, I'm bullish. Let's see how far they can push it. Only thing working against me are the ticks trending down here. So I want to make sure those stay above the 0 line. and start trending higher. Okay, we're creating a little poor high here. So if we immediately repair it, if we immediately get 2 ticks above, that's more bullish. But if it has to pull back down a little bit, that's normal. Vincent, gently press the like button, please. Yeah, let's see how we're doing on likes. 47 likes. 128 people watching. Smash that like or gently push it. Just a little thumbs up action if you're enjoying the commentary so far. Okay. So I'm watching these numbers closely. Are we still going to keep getting more buyers, or do these start to turn negative as the sellers are taking over? Ooh, those ticks are getting negative. They're getting below that 0 line. These numbers are getting smaller and smaller, so there's more and more sellers piling on here. This is an interesting little doodad. All right, I was early on the bullish call. It looks like we need to pull back down into this node around halfback. So like 45.76. Looking for stronger support. Still got a poor high in need of repair up there. Screwball market by order. No, I've never heard of that. It's interesting. Man, if I gotta say I'm staying all day, no, I gotta switch back to the private room today. I'm disappointed that yesterday was so boring, but that spike down was a good educational opportunity. A liquidation break that got sellers piling on. S&P addict, I completely agree. I should have waited. I pointed out this node this morning. I should have waited for it to get above there and find support there. Got a little bit early, but that's okay. Buyers are still stepping in, and they got that poor high that needs repair. So that means they got to get the market one more tick above it. And until they do, it acts like a magnet. It kind of is like tugging it at price to come up there and get one more tick above. Um, well, this is my first day using this R. So, but yeah, you should assume that the negative numbers are higher sellers. It's basically the buyers, you know, subtracting the sellers or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's why there should be more sellers at the high because the market couldn't get up any higher. That's where it ran out of buyers. So you can literally, if you just look at the numbers, you can see you're running out of buyers up here, but you're bringing them in down here. So it's like support, resistance. It'll be fun to watch this over the next few weeks and see what insights we can pick up. It's also worth noting we've pulled value to being overlapping to higher from yesterday, just barely by a single tick, but that is a sign of potential either sideways or upward movement. Jonathan, good day. I don't know. When's daylight savings here in America? I don't even keep track. My phone automatically updates overnight and my alarm goes off at the same time, so I never know. Yes, sir, Vincent. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Pugbacks had it up on his for a long time. but it's new to me. Yeah, I saw that post going around this morning about the guy who bought like $8,000. It's worth $6 billion. But if that guy tried to unload it, guess what would happen to the price? All right. Well, the support is not holding. The ticks are getting back below the zero line. So I'm sorry to fake you guys all out, but I'm back to neutral, as this could potentially lead the market to just balancing in this range. Ironic that if you go back and watch the first 5 minutes, that is the exact level that I pointed out. Between there and there, we likely just get chop. Okay, so we pulled back down into this little support we created this morning. Can the ticks turn around and start trending higher here? Or will the sellers continue to pile on? Army vet, what is the significance of a poor high? Well, what a poor high basically means is that there wasn't good excess to the high. So, like, we constantly think about the market as a two-way auction process, right? So the market is going to push up as high as it can, as long as it can keep convincing those buyers to keep going higher and higher and higher. And then at some point, they're going to run out and it's going to reverse back down. And so if they only get one tick away from the previous high, it increases the odds that it wasn't that we ran out of buyers, but rather that sellers tried to pile on there, right? So we printed that high in the A period. So you could look at the regular candlestick, right? We printed that high, and then short-term traders, retail traders like you and I, because all we look at are these candlesticks, would just pile on right there. They would just put a bunch of short orders right in here to try to hold that market down, thinking that's going to be the high. And so if it's only able to get one tick above, it's a sign that the buyers didn't really get a chance to run out up there, but instead the short-term sellers kind of forced it back down. And so that just increases the odds that at some point the market's going to come back and repair that. So the way that we think about poor highs is the first thing is you normally get a push away. So you print the poor high, and then you normally go the opposite direction. Okay? And then you bring in sellers to push back up again. But it doesn't have to happen immediately. It could take all day. It could take days. Sometimes you leave a poor high behind for, a couple of days before you come back and repair it. but they have extremely high probability of getting repaired. Black Cat, are you trying to trigger a song, a Duran Duran song? I don't know what you mean. No, the repair would be price coming up and getting one tick above it. So you need two of these little letters, the B here. You need one more little B up here, and then it's repaired. So the way I think about it is like when it happened, right? It created the poor high. What did I say? I said, well, I'm bullish. I think we're finding support in here, but it would be normal for the market to push away from that poor high. So that makes me not get scared when the market pushes away because I know that's just normal behavior. Those sellers are piling on right at that moment. So it's going to push the other way. But then I can go long with more confidence because I know the market really wants to get at least one tick above here. So going long in support, like the halfback, right? And then targeting that exact level, the poor high, is just a very high probability trade. But they can be tricky because you can leave them behind for a while. You know, if the market can't get back above this node, we may trade lower for the next 4 or 5 hours and then come up and get it. Or we may have to wait till tomorrow or whatever. So it's not a perfect thing, but it's very high probability. I mean, to be fair, every poor high that's ever been created in the market's been repaired, you know, because we've been to new all-time highs. So 100% success rate on that. It's just a matter of time. Ronald, what are the green numbers indicating? Just the highest volume. I'll probably turn that off and just keep them all white. But in the same way that over here, the pink shows the middle volume. So if you're wondering about the colors over here on the volume profile, white is the lowest 30% of volume. Pink is the middle 40, and red is the top 30%. And so I just kind of programmed it so both the top 30 and the middle would be green here. But it's not really giving me any useful information, so I'll probably turn them all white. Army, but isn't that a new poor high? Correct. Yeah, we just created this poor high like 15 minutes ago. NQ back to the open. Still rotational. Let's take a look at the Q. Okay, Q also has a poor high. I mean, things are back to feeling pretty bullish here. The ticks, they didn't spend any time below that zero line. They immediately wicked back up, both indices. So they could be looking to try to break that high from yesterday on the ES. Up there at 45.76. But let's wait and see. Nah, Donkey, I'm not going to front run it again. I got to see them get up there and come back down and find some support. Then I'll go long, or then I'll go green. Yeah, Army Vet, you will find, no matter what indicators you look at, you'll find confluences, right? You're always, every indicator that exists is analyzing the same data. So you'll generally tend to find a lot of things that line up like that. Mangala's got a bullish signal on his 30-minute charts. What's the signal? Alpha Trader. Do I think the tempo is slow and the buyers are struggling? It's a good question. I don't think the tempo's slow. I think it's pretty normal. Are the buyers struggling? Maybe. It's not super bullish like we've had the last, week and a half where every morning it just shoots like a rocket ship straight up. But they're still in control. The buyers are still in control. I'm looking at the taper here on the volume. That's a perfect pullback. They pulled right into support and ran out of sellers. So they're doing okay. But to prove themselves, they got to repair this poor high and then find support. That will be the test. Yeah. And Q's looking good for continuation. Okay. It's now one time framing higher. Value overlapping to higher from yesterday. Clearly, they're looking at that all-time high, which was also a poor high if you're in two-tick increments. I noticed last night in one tick, it's a good high. There's 3 ticks of excess, but if you're in two-tick increments, if that confuses you, don't worry about it. The long and the short of it is there's a good chance they want to get above that all-time high, at least poke above there. Okay, so there's the repair of the poor high here on the ES. So now we're looking for the buyers to step in and create some support here. S&P Act saying he thinks it's going to go rotational, so he's just scalping. And Jitten says, let's fucking go. Fausto's looking to get long. You got a nice little node of support right here. Be a great long trade. You have a nice tight stop. Getting in anywhere in here. Stop below it. Okay, so once we get above yesterday's high, the next resistance is going to be this node of volume. It starts at about 79.50. Scuball, what do you think about adding to positions? Nothing wrong with adding to winners. Never ever add to losers. That's my rule. All right, Rocket. Well, you earned it. You had to earn the money on that third one. The market made you work for it. That's all right. Can't be easy every day. Congrats. All right, so we created another poor high here in the C period. Normally we get a push away from a poor high back down into support. If it were to immediately repair it, getting 2 ticks above, that would be a little more bullish. Yeah, so S&P Addict, each letter, which is called a TPO, stands for Time Price Opportunity. Don't ask me why they call it that. Each TPO is 30 minutes, so it's like a 30-minute candlestick, basically. And the volume over here isn't based on time. It's based on the amount of volume at each price level. But all right, guys, with that, I'm going to bid you all farewell. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the 69 likes. If you're not a member of the Brigade, it only costs $10 a month. And there's a link in the description to join. So if you are a member of the Brigade, I shall see you in the Brigade room in just a moment. To the rest of you, I bid you farewell, and we will see you here tomorrow morning. Okay, so that poor high is now repaired, and we immediately created another one because it's at exactly yesterday's high. So we should get 2 more ticks higher up here. At the very least, there it is. The market is one time framing higher. Value is overlapping to higher. Things are bullish for the moment. Look for the market to keep support if it pulls back in this node around 72. Okay, bye.